In this video, we're going to go over the second paycheck for the month of May. We're going to go over what we're expecting to bring in just because there's a budgeted and actual column, but in reality, we've already got our paychecks. We're just a little late here. So we're going to actually go over those numbers and how we're going to allocate that money. Also, if you don't know, moving forward, I'm only traditionally posting one video per week, and that video will be posted on Tuesday. That is what everybody voted for, and I'm honoring the wishes of everybody just because of my schedule. And now you're thinking, well, what about this video? Yes. So if there is times where I have time or more information to give out, I will go ahead and do 2 videos for the week. But just for over promising, I just want to make sure I can at least just do one video. Another thing, if you don't know, every Sunday I have a blog post, okay? It's on paperbymo.com, and I'm talking about different ways you can save, ways that I've saved, ways that I have been trying to pay off my student loan debt, things that have been successful for me with my car loan, credit card loans, all of that. So make sure you go to paperbymo.com and subscribe so you can stay posted. Now, if you're not subscribed to Paper by Mo YouTube channel, make sure you click that subscribe button and stay tuned. So if you do not know, this right here is our lovely budget planner, aka a binder. But I always like to stress this because it's so easy to start budget planning. You do not have to have all the expensive budget planners. Trust me, I know I was buying them and then I was creating them. I do create inserts that goes inside of these planners, so make sure you guys go check that out, paperbymo.com. And I say go inside of these planners, but it can go inside of a notebook, can go inside a binder, all the things, anything. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to May because that's the month it is. I want to go ahead and just look over the goals for a second just to make sure we're kind of, I don't know, going in the right direction. So my husband's goals is for a good progression towards his career. That's still in the works. And then good progression towards his desired certification. And that man studies every day. So I feel like I don't want to check it off yet because we still got a ways to go in the month. And then myself, work out at least 2 times a week. Haven't been doing it at least 3, but at least 2 times. So we're moving on up. Okay. We're moving on up. And then plants grow big and repot. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. You guys. Those plants may have possibly died. I know. But I told my husband, I told my mom, I'm like, listen, if I just got to go get some more seeds and start over, I will. Because if at first you don't succeed, you dust yourself off and you try again. Come on, Aaliyah. Okay. And speaking of the plants, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because start a successful garden. I should say start and uphold, maintain, keep a successful garden, because I might have started it, but is it successful? I don't know. That's subjective. I know. This is for my quarterly goals, which, y'all, I'm trying to get there. But I really was thinking that maybe our goals had some money on it, because I was thinking about student loans. The goal, well, I see the monthly budget is to have paid $1,000 extra for my husband's and mine, because we decided we were getting back into our student loan payment plan. You're like, girl, where is the paycheck budget? I know, I'm a yapper. But the thing about it is we did it already. This first paycheck with the relocation, so I do need to close this out. But the first paycheck with the relocation, and we already got the 1,000 for my husband, 1,000 for myself. So we kind of already hit that goal, and then house at least 1,000. And because again we had the relocation, we gave the house way more than just 1,000. But at least the month, I'm gonna say every month, the goal is to every paycheck put $1,000 towards our house goal. And you're thinking, wow, that's crazy. I know that's what you're thinking, but our goal is to have $50,000 by the end of the year, and we're gonna have to rev this stuff up in order to actually get there. Because next month will be in June, it'll be half of the year. So here we are. Okay, so if you don't know, I am writing with a pilot pen. I have a lot of these pens, and if it's not this one specifically, it's a different variation. So we got a G2, a V7, and a whole bunch of other ones. If you're interested in these, anything I have, you see in these videos, you can usually just check one of the links below. I have the Amazon storefront with like my, I was gonna say printer, calculator, and these pens, and then Paper by Mo for the actual sheets. So let's see, what do we want to do? Okay, so first things first, this is the paycheck number 2. So I want to make sure I actually have the dates because that's important. I also have to record my June budget, our June budget, because So this one is the 23rd. My birthday was on the 21st. I got so many well wishes. I'm so grateful. But you guys, this year I actually went to work on my birthday. Isn't that just loony, toony? I don't know. People do it all the time, but the way people kind of just like, I don't know, got on my nerves on my birthday at work, I was like, wow, maybe this is a sign to take my day off. So comment below and let me know if you guys take your birthday off. And my birthday was on a Wednesday, so it just didn't make sense for me, especially when there's a holiday, coming up, Memorial Day. So why do that? Okay, so let's start off with the income. Now, this projected numbers are actually actual and factual just because it was budgeted a little late and the numbers already hit the account. So first things first, we budget out zero-based budgeting, meaning that every dollar has a job. If you do not know, we do our best. Sometimes we go a little over, sometimes we're a little under, but if we're under, we give that money to something, maybe a credit card, a sinking fund, something. But every dollar, every penny, in fact, does have a job. They don't just sit in our checking account. We're just not those people at all. But if that's what you like to do, that's what you like to do. It's just we prefer, if money's going to sit, it at least should sit in our high yield savings account so we can get some type of interest, some type of investment here. Okay, so that's the starting. So first person we're going to do is O. That is my husband. We're going to put O income, and then we're going to put Mo income. Okay, so just a little mini backstory. If you don't know, my husband lost his full-time job in October, and he hasn't exactly bounced back completely, but my husband does have a job. It's an interim job. He's working towards something in his career field, something better than what he had, all the things, right? That's number 1. And then number 2, my husband and I did move from Louisiana to the DMV area because of my job, where I would be making more money. And now that we live in Maryland, no D, no V, we are making, the income is better, but also we have lesser expenses. Isn't that crazy that we would be moving to Maryland and it was cheaper than Louisiana? Moving on. Let's get into the numbers. So my husband's income, this check was a little higher for him, $1,338.41. He was super excited. I was super excited for him. I think he worked a little over as well, like over the regular 40 hours. And then if you work over 40 hours, that's going to be overtime. So it usually adds up. And then for my job, my check is higher, but not because of overtime or anything like that, because I've told you previously, if you didn't see any of my old videos, I'm trying to play with the taxes here, okay? I tried to put in that I was filing single, and the amount of taxes they took out was astronomical. So then I was like, okay, let's do married filing jointly. The problem with married filing jointly is that they take your money and they assume that the other person in the relationship is either not making money unless you report it to your current job, which I'm not telling my job how much my husband's making. That's weird. So yeah, they assume that you're like the sole breadwinner, and so they take less taxes. But then when you file your taxes and they found out, oh, you both were making decent money, and then you were getting married filing jointly, and he was getting married filing jointly, so that was less taxes being taken. We want more money to give. We want more money from you all. So what am I saying? I went back to married filing jointly. Here's my mindset, and I'm gonna write the number, and then I'm gonna chit chat and tell you guys my mindset, the reason why. So the first check that I actually got from this job, married filing jointly, it was about the same amount as my previous job, kind of, which I thought was weird because I'm making $30-something thousand more, right? Then I also got a check, and it still had the not married, single, and then it had the relocation on it. Well, when it came to the relocation, that was something that I signed with this job. When I got the job, that I'll get $15,000 to move halfway across the country. So of that $15,000, I think I got about eight. Like, that's how much taxes, federal and state taxes, it ended up taking. So I was just like, oh, that's crazy. So in my mind, I could be completely wrong. I'm like, oh, they got enough taxes, at least for now. Maybe I'll still try to tweak it eventually, but right now, this is where we are. We'll see how far we get. Whew, that was long-winded. Okay, so now we're on our handy dandy calculator, $1,338.41. Then we're gonna add $3,056.58. All right, so now we're bringing in $4,394.99 with this paycheck. I think, oh, you know what? That is not a 5. This is a 3. Tell me you can't read your own handwriting without telling me you can't read your own handwriting. So 1,338.41 plus 3,056.38. Okay, so $4,394.79. That's exactly what it is. Okay, and again, we're putting on budget, but this is actually in our account. So this is $4,394.79. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna go to fixed expenses. If you don't know, my husband and I, we try to like split our rent, not between us, but between the 2 checks we usually get, because we are paid bi-weekly. So, and also now our water sewage is another thing we go ahead and split. It's kind of included, but we just like to not dilute the rent and count it all as one. I don't know. It just works for us. That's why you got to do what works for you, because personal finances is personal. It's very personal. Okay, so for rent, it is $772.50. $772.50. And then for our water sewage, this is what we're budgeting. June might even be more. Obviously, this is going towards June, but I hope it's obvious. I don't know. And then for water sewage, we're doing $52.50. Okay. So $772.50 plus $52.50 is going to equal a whole number. I don't know why I said that. Like, duh, you guys know math. $772.50 plus $52.50. That's going to be $825, which we love. That it's an even number. And then what we're going to do is, we are going to $4,394.79, and then we're going to subtract $825, and then we have $3,569.79. Okay, $3,569.79. So this is our first category. I like to move it over to a number 2 category, which is variables, and this is supposed to be things that change, so this for us is our food, gas, and fun, but we keep it kind of consistent. So my husband's gas for his car, my gas for my car. We work in close proximity to where we live, both of us. So that is a blessing when it comes to gas and mileage on cars. I just gotta say, that's very, very, very important. My husband and I, although we are saving money for a house, we're also looking for homes. And this is something that's really important to us both. Like, obviously my husband isn't in his career job, but it's just like, dang, if we get a house or a condo, apartment, whatever the case may be, living arrangements, we want to live a little closer, just because the commute can be stressful. Maryland has a lot of people and a lot of bodies. Okay, so traditionally, when it comes to food, we go ahead and we give $400 for the month, so $200 per paycheck if we get 2 paychecks that month. Now, I'm going to show you. So we said $400. Now, when it comes to food, we took out $200, but we have a whole $100 bill left, and we kind of don't really feel like we're going to spend too much of it, because we are going out of town. It's a holiday, and then so maybe sinking fund money will be spent. And then with the first week of June, there's a paycheck. So I don't know. I talked to my husband. I was like, maybe we just keep the $100 and like use it as more fun money because y'all, we have used our fun money already. So that's that. I was just sharing with you guys because that's what this is all about. It's about transparency. Exactly. Okay. So we're still gonna go ahead and budget out $400. All that said, girl, you're doing the same thing. You are doing the same thing. Now, when it comes to each person's gas or the car, it's about $30, and I'm rounding up. But honestly, for whatever reason, I know it's about to be summer, but gas prices have dropped a little bit, and I love that for our paychecks, wallets, bank accounts, credit cards, debit cards. I love that for everything. So $30 for him, $30 for me for gas. And then when it comes to fun, we are giving ourselves 50 for him, 50 for me. So for an example of like somebody asks what exactly is fun, it might be a date night for us. It might be a movie. My husband likes to get his haircut. It might be a haircut. It's definitely not nails because nails usually cost way more than $50. Hate that for us. But that's okay. That's okay. Okay, so $400 plus 100, that's 500, and this is $560. Oh my gosh, why did I put 400? It should be two. It should be two because I'm thinking monthly. We got to think paycheck. So 200, 160, $360. Just want to go ahead and not have to erase this already. And then guess what I pressed? Erase. You know what I'm saying? $3,569.79. $569.79. And then we're going to subtract 360. Boom. We're at $3,209.79. Looking at my notes, making sure that's right. $3,209.79. Okay, so we went from fixed expenses to variable expenses, and we go from variable expenses to savings. Ooh. Now, girl, get your life together. Okay, so let's talk about savings. The goal was to, let me see, what was the goal for monthly? The goal for house was to give $1,000. We obviously gave a lot more than $1,000, and that's really solely because of that relocation. And I'm grateful, he's grateful, we're grateful. But the goal is still $1,000, outside of that. We'll just say that's plus. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna say house and we're gonna give $1,000. Okay. So that's the goal. My husband and I, we did some math. I'm gonna do the math for you guys and show you. Actually, am I gonna do the math? Do I have the numbers on hand? I don't think so. But I can show you guys. We'll show you when we go over, like, I'll try to show you the sinking funds in the book. Okay, so that's house. That's gonna be $1,000. And then sinking funds. We don't always give enough money to sinking funds sometimes. Just being honest, we gotta show more love. $209.79. So that's gonna be $1,209.79. Okay, so we're gonna minus $1,209.79. So now what we have remaining is $2,000. Where do you think that's going? Debt. Okay, so we have my husband's student loan and then my student loan. And although my husband isn't due, we're proactively working out here. We just want to get this off our backs. Okay, so that is $1,000 and $1,000. That's going to be $2,000. And what's remaining is going to be $0, darling. Do I have a highlighter? Yes. So what's going to be in cash? Food's going to be in cash. Gas is not in cash because Costco doesn't take cash for gas, so don't usually do that. And then fun, just like when to stop having fun when you're out of cash. Yep. Okay, and so this right here is signaling that it's cash. Quite simple. Okay, let me go ahead and get into this. Just do some math. Oh, I love this. I like when just like looking at the numbers and explaining things. I don't know, something about it. It just does something for me. Okay, so the last sinking funds that we went over was in April. I know it's been a while, but this is probably the closest thing to accurate. And these our accounts. So this right here is the home. That's $17,348. It's gonna be a little over just because high yield savings accounts every month ain't interest, but it's usually like $50, 40 something dollars. So I'm gonna just put $17,348, and then just because that's accurate. Now our life account, this is the account that my husband and I created off of my husband. What is it the call when you what is it called? I can't even think of what it's called, but basically my husband was let go and he got severance. That's what it is. So this was from his severance checks, and we just saved all of them, and then we lived off of one person's income, which was mine. So his severance, yeah, he got severance for 3 months, so as though he was just still working. That's what he got. So we saved all of it. We saved, it ended up being like 18,000. It cost us about 8,000 to actually move here. Again, moving halfway across the country, not paying off, but all the expenses that goes with closing out one apartment, opening another apartment, all those things. It ended up coming from our life account. Moving expenses, I don't know, whatever you can think of, it came from that. But we ended up having $10,249.89. So I'm just gonna say, I really could have just said 17,000. I'm just gonna do 17,350. I'm sure it's more, and then we're gonna plus 10,250. I'm explaining to you what life is. We know what home is, but my husband and I have agreed that we're probably just gonna, unless life's in between, right? And it happens, but we're just gonna go ahead and just, in our mind right now, in this day and age and time, we're just gonna add them both, and that's $27,600. Okay, so let's move this and let's just do some numbers and some logic. So 27,600. We said we want to have 50,000 by the end of the year. So we subtract that 50,000. That's actually 22,400 left over. Okay, 22,400. We're in the end of May. So let's say June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 7 months. I don't know why I did that. That's so weird. But that's 7 months. If my husband and I can do $1,000 per check, even though I know we have months, at least 1 month where we're both gonna get paid 3 times. But if we do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, so I don't know, minus 14,000. We would still need 8,000. Math doesn't exactly math. But then we have 1 month. Oh no, then we have to take away this one, the month we're in. So that is $1,000 minus 1,000. So that's $7,400 left over that we need. It's a lot. But it's way closer than where we are. So I said the maths, but it maths to us. So it maths to us. It just gets us closer to our end goal. Also, what else? Like I said, that 3 paycheck month, we don't know how much we're actually going to give to the actual house account. And I know, because we may or may not decide to keep giving $1,000, a month or whatever to our student loans per person. So we're trying to figure it out, because we're trying to do 2 things. We're trying to save for our house and then go ahead. We have our emergency fund saved. Those are fully funded. So now we want to save for our house, and then we also want to continue to drastically pay down our student loans. So maybe 1 month we add more student loans, 1 month we add less student loans and more to the house. I don't know. We're figuring it out as we go. We're just inching along. We're faking it till we're making it. I don't know. So does that make, I don't know what that means. Like, are we actually making it, or are we fake? Who knows? But this is what we have thus far for the second paycheck for the month of May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys budget out your money. Go ahead and pay your student loans if you have them. Pay out your credit cards. Give yourself some money. I think that's really, really big. I talk about this in some of my blog posts about how paying yourself, giving yourself some fun money, it releases some of the tension to even just keep swiping your credit card or your debit card, because another thing is cash is king. I really do believe that. I really feel like, because when you run out of cash, you're done. Stay done and be done. Okay, I'm done with my spiel, I promise. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.